Welcome to the Not My Scene podcast, the podcast where we explore different scenes, communities, subcultures, and corners of the internet and tell you what we find. I'm your Den.
I'm Kaya, and we have a special guest today, a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, Allison?
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison.
Our resident bird expert and perfume expert, but we're not here to discuss perfume today.
Just birds.
We're going to try to find some ways to use both your interests today. We'll see if we can incorporate it.
We're going to squeeze the juice out of you.
Can't wait. I'm ready to be squoze.
Den, what has been your scene lately?
Okay, my scene has been beans from scratch, dried beans. I finally got on the train.
Whoa.
I know.
Are you on the train,
huge.
Allison?
I'm so not on that train at all. Carly, my partner, is, but not me.
Okay, so you're a dried bean household.
Only on occasion, like literally only on Christmas Eve, because she insists on doing it the right way on Christmas Eve, but all other times we are not.
No, I was so resistant to this because I feel like, you know, like foodies and my mom had been telling me this for years.
Right.
They were pushing it. They were like, beans from scratch is so much better. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to think ahead of time to have beans. Like, beans to me are fast and they're canned and I can make them delicious. But how this happened was Donna and I got this cookbook that was called like the Bean Book. And we didn't really look in it that much before we bought it. We were like, yeah, I'm sure they're going to be like pushing beans from scratch in this book, but whatever, we can just make the recipes with canned beans if we want. But that wasn't really the case because do you know the Rancho Gordo brand of dried beans?
No.
They're like this kind of slightly bougie California like heirloom bean company.
Okay, wait, I don't, but I went on a river rafting trip last summer for like 7 days with a bunch of people I didn't know. And one of the women on the trip was like pretty introverted. And I had been asking everyone on the trip like what their dream meal was and what dishes they would want as part of a dream meal. And I kind of needled her until she disclosed that she was passionate about heirloom beans, and she said she's part of an heirloom bean like mailing club where they like send heirloom beans, I think once a month or every few months.
Okay, now I kind of want to join the monthly bean club.
Yeah. I for like a moment I was like, that sounds nice, and then I was like, okay, come on, I can't. There's other ways I need to be my own butler before I start doing beans from scratch.
Okay, so realized once I started going through the recipes and just reading like the intro that the book is from the Rancho Gordo Bean Company. So like the whole book is like, this is how to make our beans. And you can't even really make a lot of the recipes without making beans from scratch because it'll be like this amount of beans plus the bean broth.
So the big bean is like really pushing beans from it's, oh my God, gigante beans, right? Isn't that a type of bean?
Yeah.
Big bean.
Gigante bean is pushing it.
All right. So you need the bean water.
You need the bean water. And I feel like that was like a millennial thing to be like, don't talk to me till I've had my like bean water about coffee. So yeah, I've made beans from scratch 2 weeks in a row now, and they are really good and honestly not that hard, I would say.
They're different. You would say they're meaningfully different.
Yeah, in the sense that once you've made the pot of beans, you can kind of just eat them and they taste good. Like you don't have to do much to them. So they encourage you in the book to first just make a pot of beans without doing anything else to show you how good they are. So I did that first, and then I would like eat them with some like different toppings like avocado and cotija cheese. Then this week I made chili with the beans. I like it also for the being your own butler of it, because you can make like a big pot on Sunday and have it for most of the week.
Yeah. And what kind of bean?
They're like beans I've never heard of, because I had to go to the Rancho Gordo store finder to see where I could buy these beans. And there was like one like bougie market. So I went there and they only had a few types. I still have pinto left. So pinto is a bean we know, but I think
what color are they?
One of them, the one for the chili,
they're
was
blue.
Like beans you've never seen before.
They're actually colors that I've never seen before.
The one for the chili was a red bean, and I think it was called like Domingo Rojo or something. And then the first bean I made, it was like a black bean, but it wasn't just called that. It was called something else. So I hate to be the person that's like telling you to make beans from scratch.
Have you done a direct comparison if you're making both types of beans, like to see if it's actually meaningfully different?
She thinks they're really good. She says they're good.
What do you think, Yarden?
No, I do think they're...
Yeah, she says they're really good.
I thought that's what you asked. I thought that's what she thought.
No. Are you liking the beans that you're making from scratch too, Yarden?
I am. And like, I am liking them. Am I not convincing? Okay, that's enough about beans.
No, it's very interesting. We'll see if I try this in the next 2 weeks. I'm curious to... I do feel influenced right now, but I also feel like it's been quite a few years of me not doing it.
What's been your scene, Kaya?
I have been, for the first time in my life, playing a video game that is completely ruining my life. I have never, ever really gotten the appeal of video games. Like, I've always lost interest. I like watching people play video games historically, but I don't like...
girlfriend behavior.
Yeah, although it's really... I used to like watching Charlotte's older sister Lizzie play the Nancy Drew game specifically. So I don't know if that's really girlfriend
just like
behavior.
Little sister behavior.
Little sister behavior, exactly. And also that game is like a move. That game is like a movie because it's like, you know, murder mystery. But yeah, I started playing this game, Baldur's Gate 3. Ever heard of it, guys? It's pretty awesome.
No.
There is something in this game though that is like... it's so addictive. I've never felt this way about anything. It's like eating up hours of my day. Like, it's a very time-consuming game. Like, one battle will take like 45 minutes. And so you'll try a battle like 3 times in a row if you're me and you're bad at playing video games. And suddenly you've been playing for like 3 to 4 hours and nothing has happened. Like, you haven't progressed at all. And I went down this like crazy rabbit hole about a week ago because I was playing with a friend, and earlier in the game we had done this battle against this like hot lady witch lady person, blonde, and we killed her. And then we found out on Reddit that if you don't kill her, if you just knock her out, she'll show up later in the game and then you can seduce her and make her your girlfriend. And we were like, oh my god, we have to do that. Like, of course we want to make this hot blonde witch lady our girl who has like a dark past our girlfriend, because part of it's like a little bit Simsy, like you can like create relationships and stuff. So even though we had already won this battle, then we spent like 6 hours trying to win it again in a way where we just knocked her out instead of killed her. And we finally did it. And I'm getting really close to the part of the game now where she should be showing up. And if she doesn't show up and I can't make her my girlfriend, I'm going to freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been doing. It's like so addictive. And I feel like I'm honestly like, not to align myself with the enemy, but I'm like, oh, I can kind of see how like I can't really hear when people are talking to me and I'm playing this. Like, I can see how, like, I wouldn't be able to hear my girlfriend asking me what I wanted for dinner if I was, like, playing this. You know what I mean? It's, like, so, like, it's just so addictive. I have been playing, like, so much of it that the first few days I was, like, I would be trying to fall asleep and I would be in that, like, kind of
No.
in between sleep stage. Yes. And I'd be like selecting sleep on my character to try to like get myself to go to bed. Like I was having crazy, like weird, like kind of dreams, putting my real life into the mechanics of this game, and like just fucking like battling in my head all night.
You were Queen's Gambit like style, seeing it on the ceiling.
Yeah, Queen's Gambit style, getting total party kills over and over and over again all night. Exactly. I like dearly hope next time we record, I'm done with this game. I need to finish it.
I hope you
like
finished it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've already put
If
like over 30 hours.
Oh no. Yikes.
Major yikes, yeah.
I wish you luck.
Yeah.
Someone should just take it away from me, honestly. That would be the best thing for me, but it's really fun. Allison, what's your scene?
My scene is denim, but specifically jeans.
Okay. The most common type.
The most common form of denim. Carly and I both need jeans right now, so we're like really in it at the moment. We're calling it jeans hell because we have so many pairs of jeans in our house right now. We did like big online orders. This time we tried to take a different approach. I feel like every 2 years I'm like, gotta get new jeans. I'm always like kind of in this mindset of like, what's the trendy jean this year? So this time we were like trying to be a little more thoughtful about it, and there's this denim row in LA in like La Brea where there's all these denim stores. So we went there to do some research and learn more about different brands and try some things on before we did our online order, which was helpful.
Is it like stores that sell like raw denim, or it's like jean stores?
It's like a combination of both. There's this one that it's called American Rag, and it's like a huge, they source all different kinds of denim brands. And so that was cool because we could talk to someone and he could like guide us in the right direction. Half the store is new stuff and half the store is vintage. So we learned all about like raw denim versus not raw denim and selvage denim. And you guys know what selvage is? I just learned
no.
I just know like the term like Japanese selvage denim, but I don't actually know what that means. It's just like buzzwords like brown butter miso pasta.
So it's basically like an extremely durable stitch on denim. So when you see people that are like wearing those cuffed, like you know that look where there's like a large cuff at the bottom and there's sort of this like big white seam on the side. I just learned that's like kind of a performative thing. It's to show the selvage denim stitching that you have like a nice pair of selvage jeans.
Interesting. I'm going to be on the lookout for that.
Me too.
Totally. Yeah, I'm like noticing it all the time now. Yeah, so there's that, and then there's like the whole world of vintage, you know, Levi's and stuff. And especially in California, I feel that's like huge. And sometimes they're really overpriced. Like vintage Levi's can be like, I went to this one store that was like minimum $300 for a vintage pair of Levi's, which is kind of crazy. So I was in Silver Lake, but you can obviously get them for cheaper, but it's more of a hunt if you're gonna go that route. So so we've just been like educating ourselves, and then I feel like I'm kind of a Levi's girl at the end of the day, like period. So we did a Levi's order and then tried a couple of other places too. I'm always struggling with inseams because I'm really tall. So I have to figure out the places that do the long inseams.
Well, I'm really excited for you to leave jean hell and to see what you come up with. I feel I really resonate with like a every 2 years feeling like you need a new pair of jeans feeling. And when I have that feeling, it's like also now I can't wear any of my tops because all the tops rely on the jeans. So once you get that jean pair, it's going to be like over for everyone else. Your whole new wardrobe.
Totally. That's so true. It's like the rise of the waist. You're like,
Yeah.
wait,
Yes.
now, like, if you go lower rise, you're like, my little crop tops are showing too much of my midriff.
Yeah, totally. I'm like constantly feeling like I have no pants, even though I have like 30 pairs of pants or something horrible like that. Jean Hell.
I'm ready to.
Are there any like brands that you didn't know about before that you would recommend to listeners who are also in Jean Hell right now?
Okay, if there are any tall girls listening, G-Star. Do you guys remember that brand?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Early 2000s.
G-Star Raw.
They make really long inseams. They make like just a lot of different inseams. Like I think they start at like 26 or maybe it's like 28 and they go up to like 36 inches. So that's a recommendation. And then I think it's called a Railway. It's a brand that's based in LA and it's more that kind of selvage denim vibe and it's like they're kind of pricey, but they only have like, 4 cuts of jeans and they're like super designed and they'll tailor them for free for you if you get them directly from them. And they just look really nice. It's called Railcar Fine Goods, not Railway.
Railcar. Okay, I will be looking this up.
Cool. Well, should we get into the wonderful world of birding?
Let's do it.
So we're talking about the birding community today, and I think a good entry point, since we all have watched it, would be the Listers documentary. So feel free to chime in, but this was a documentary made by 2 brothers who have a very like stoner dirtbag vibe, and it's on YouTube for free if anyone wants to watch. They do a big year, which is trying to see as many different bird species in one year as possible, and they're like new to birding, so they document their whole experience. And I really liked it as someone who had not gotten involved in birding before, because I was like, well, I don't care that much about the birds, but this documentary is like more about the people angle, and like it's very like not my scene adjacent in that way. It's like, what is this subculture like? So I thought it was very fun.
Yeah. It's kind of like alternate universe, you guys making a documentary, going in depth in one of your scenes.
It is like watching it. In the beginning, it looks like so appealing to me. Like when they're like, we're taking a year off and all we're doing is birding. They're doing their big year, but that is all they're doing. Like they're living in a car, they're driving tens of hours around the country. And it seems like all they do every day is bird. As I was watching it, I was like, when could I do this? And what would I do this for? Like what? Yeah, and maybe birding.
You would have to do it for the love of the game, because they already made the documentary, so I don't think you have that.
No. I mean, like, what thing would I do this for?
Oh, like instead of birding.
Yeah, I mean, maybe birding. I don't know. But yeah, it's like if you were to take a year of your life and just send it on a completely new hobby. Very not my scene adjacent.
Mm-hmm. And specifically like dive into the deepest end of that hobby that you could dive into, because doing a big year is like a huge deal. Like most people in the birding community wouldn't, even if they love birding, like they'd be like, I don't know, not for me necessarily, so that's like
you pretty much have to take a year off and not be working, it seems like, to do it.
Yeah, you have to be, there's so much planning and strategy that goes into that type of thing. Like I've done a big day before. I've never done a big year, obviously, but even the big day was like, there was like a spreadsheet. There was number crunching happening in terms of like how we could maximize the species count for the day and like how long it would take to drive between point A and point B to maybe get to see like 5 additional birds to add to the list and stuff like that.
How many did you see in your big day?
Oh my God. I think that's a good question. I think we saw like maybe 75. Maybe it was more than that. It was
Wow.
actually like 100 or closer to
That's a
100.
lot.
Yeah.
Because, okay, my understanding from listers is that like the record big years are in the low 700s. So you got a ton of that done in one day.
The Bay Area is very species rich. So,
And you're like, at that rate, you think you could do it in like 10 days, but obviously it's like the birds get harder and harder as you go to like more rare
Yeah.
birds. For a big year, it's trying to see as many different bird species as possible in a year. And it's usually limited to a geographic region, right? Like I know for the brothers, Owen and Quentin Reiser, they did it in the lower 48, the
yes.
48 continental US states. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a big day is like the same thing. You're just doing it in a day, but there's usually some kind of parameters around which counties you're doing it in. But
yeah,
still a lot of driving, fast driving.
I mean, obviously it's like less of a commitment because it's just one day, but there's so much more pressure on that one day.
Mm-hmm.
It seems really intense.
Right, because it's like birds, they're gonna do what they want to do. Like they may or may not be there. So you kind of have to like take bets, on like where you're gonna definitely see stuff versus where you might see stuff. People are like scouring the eBird list to see like recent sightings in different locations, and there's like scoping that happens weeks ahead of time to kind of like see which birds are active and visible at which times of day and stuff. So it's like a team effort, but it's a lot. Yeah.
How did you get connected with your big day crew?
It was through my birding friend Margot. So I met Margot through birding, and she is definitely more like numbers and competition oriented than I am. Like she's definitely the type who's willing to like drive 3 hours to see a specific bird that's like off course and rare for the area so she can add it to her county list for the year. Whereas I'm like a little bit more just like out there to observe birds and nature. She knew I wasn't going to be that helpful in organizing it and planning it, but I kind of like to think of myself as like a personality hire in a lot of birding situations. Like I'm nice to be around and I'm enthusiastic.
You'll keep spirits up.
Having less skin in the game will also mean that you like freak out less when the bird that you wanted to see there isn't there. So that's like a good person to have who's more middle of the road.
Exactly.
When everyone else is like punching the air and like really pissed off.
Yeah. I'm like, but wasn't it so cool that we got to see the robin feeding its young, guys? That was so cool.
Remember what we're all here for, guys?
It's like crazy. I didn't realize before watching listers how much, like how for some people it's so much about listing and tracking on eBird, and it gets so competitive. And some of the people in the documentary seemed like they didn't care that much. I know there was that one guy they interviewed where they asked him, would you still bird if eBird didn't exist? And he said no, which I thought was crazy. I'm like, so how did you get into this? Like, you got into it because you're just a person that likes tracking things?
Like, it could be anything. It could be like rocks, or it could be like literally trash. It could be like food packaging products. And if there was like an app to track it, he would be like looking through garbage cans to get his county records.
Totally. I know. I do wonder about those people. It's like, what was the thing that got them into it? And I mean, that guy was like, he was retired, right? So it's like, I could see where he would maybe just be like, in his retirement circles, people are birding, and he's like, he does it one time, and then he realizes there's a competitive side to it, and he gets hooked on it. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people are drawn to it for different reasons, So
yeah, I definitely see how the like tracking part would be addicting. So I know in the doc they showed people like trying to fill in a map. So is that like you're not just trying to get a species anywhere, but you want to get like as many as possible in every specific county?
In the counties. I wanted to ask about that too.
Are you talking
When I was watching, I was like, okay, like, yeah, you want to collect species on eBird. That seems like reasonable and addictive. And then they start showing this guy who's seen this bird like 100 times, and he's driving out of his way to see the bird in a particular county. And then I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yep. Yep. So I'll explain. So there's the core of, I guess, the act of bird watching is the checklist. I was thinking about this actually. It's like, what is bird watching? And on one hand, it's observing birds in their natural habitat, but then there's also this kind of like scientific aspect of it, which is recording what you see. And I think it's like when you see part of bird watching is not just observing, it's like categorizing the bird or knowing, identifying
Yes.
what it is that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And then the next step in that is to like document that. And the unit for that is the checklist, which is basically just a list of everything you saw in one sitting of bird watching. And there's like different thoughts around what's the time limit for a single checklist, or like what's the distance limit. So it's like standard is you probably start a new checklist after about 2 hours. You probably shouldn't travel more than like 2 miles in one checklist if you're on foot. And then eBird will aggregate all of the checklists that you've ever made so that you have lists by different geographical areas. So you could have like your life list, which is the big list of all the birds you've ever seen in your whole life. And when you see a new bird, it's a lifer. And then there's the county list. There's like a patch list, which is just like one patch of, like a small patch that you go to a lot. There's state lists. There's different ways that you can kind of like list.
Because when I went on my bird watching excursion, the guide was like, "Oh, I need this bird for this park," and I was like, "Okay," but so that must have been a patch list.
Yeah. So then people start to try to maximize the number of birds that they see in these different kind of like areas, these different surface areas.
I need this bird for my home. I need this bird for my job.
A cool way to optimize without having to travel everywhere.
Yeah. Or it's like the people who are creating this hobby have discovered a way to create like an infinitely addictive, much like Baldur's Gate 3. If there's a never-ending kind of span of different units that you can be trying to fill, then it's you've got it for life.
Yeah, okay. Are there any other terms we should define? We did big year and lifer.
It might be implied, but eBird is, you mentioned eBird, Allison.
Yeah, so the Cornell, I guess, Lab of Ornithology or School of Ornithology basically runs these very major birding apps that every birder uses. And one of them is called Merlin Bird ID, which is like the app you use to help you identify birds in the field. You can upload sound recordings, you can upload photos, you can tell the app what color it was and what type of environment you saw it in, and it'll give you a list of options. So that's Merlin. And then eBird is where you keep your lists, all of your lists, and you can share them with other people as well. So you can do like collaborative lists. So those are like two core things that you gotta have if you're gonna bird.
It's funny in listers how they were saying that like those are like core tools for birding, but also like very hardcore birders maybe aren't using certain features of Merlin, like the song identifiers or things like that, which that like as someone who I don't consider myself a birder, spoiler alert, I've been a casual enjoyer of Merlin for a while, and it's just funny that there's like a degree of rigor to the hobby that people would be like, oh, I don't need that like tool to help me, like I'm doing it analog, like
I'm
manually.
free soloing.
I'm free soloing, exactly.
Or it's like, I think when people say that, it's also that there's a sort of vibe around Merlin that it's kind of like sometimes it can be off, or if people lean too much on it without actually having taken time to build knowledge themselves, then they can be led in the wrong direction in terms of what they're actually documenting. So like, I know when I first started birding, I talked to a friend about it who was into it, and she was like, you have to get the Sibley guide to birds, which is like a book, and it has all the drawings in it and all the like field, like the breeding plumage and what does a juvenile look like versus an adult. And it's maybe a slower way to learn, but then you can build up a really true understanding of what differentiates different birds. Whereas I think most people, if they just use Merlin, there are a lot of birds that look quite similar. So telling the difference between a Cooper's hawk and a sharp-shinned hawk, like that would be kind of hard to do just with Merlin. And so if you just use that, you could like maybe misidentify it, which would be the worst thing ever.
A disaster. Well, you don't want to commit fraud on eBird.
No, you don't want to get got by the eBird police.
Receive one of those emails telling you that your submission has been rejected.
What I got, like, that was like the controversial part was like the playback, which is that's when you're playing the mating calls to attract birds, right? And I know they said that was like an ethical gray area. Yeah, so I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes, it is ethical gray area. There's a lot of fighting within the community about whether it should be done or not. I personally don't use it, but I have seen it used on field trips. So like these are guided walks through various Audubon societies. I think in the context of like, we're here to look at birds together, and there's a big group and there's a leader who is trained in leading a group, I think it can be okay because they're going to use it within limitation. Like I've seen it used for just a specific bird that might be like really hard to see, but we'd really like to see it, and the guide would really like to show it to the group. There's also this sound that people will use to attract birds that's not playback, but it sounds like and for some reason that works. Like
that's crazy because that's like the sound that would make me want to leave. Like it's almost the most out of any sound.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like I've seen that work instantly before, which is so crazy. But yeah, it's the reason it's considered unethical, I should explain. It's because it can confuse the bird. Like it can, like if you play like a mating call or something like that, and then the bird thinks there's another bird there for it, it can just confuse it and disorient it. And sometimes
in the video when they put the blonde witch in front of her and then they say, just kidding, she's dead.
Exactly.
Yeah, or it's like when the giants that live outside your house start doing an impression of your girlfriend or wife, and you're like, honey, she's home, but there's no one there. They're just trying to get a good look at you.
Yeah, that is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, that is kind of fucked up.
I saw something funny in the documentary where they were like, aside from it confusing the birds, I feel like this is a very human-centric perspective. They were like, it's also bad because it confuses the birders. And so birders will make a note of the fact that, you know, they heard a bird there even though they didn't see it, and it's like the bird that the person had played back. Or like birders will like rush into a clearing because they think they've heard something and it's just you, which honestly, like, that doesn't seem like the real concern to me. I don't care so much about confusing other birders. I would be more concerned about the birds. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting though because the line between shing and playback feels murky.
Yeah, especially because that one birder that they talked to, where she was like, I think it's unethical, and then they asked what if someone had a really good impression of a bird call, and she was like, I think that's fine.
Right, like, is it okay just because you're doing it yourself?
But I kind of like see that. I'm like, yeah, like you can only use your natural tools.
Like we can confuse the birds if you're like confusing them yourself. You just can't use someone else to confuse the birds.
I mean, using like the a recording of the call like on a phone, it seems like too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's completely accurate, so it feels more like cheating or something like that too. I think
Yeah. Like in nature, I feel like animals are allowed to imitate each other to
Right. And like I've seen people use like flutes and like whistles and things like that. And then it's like, okay, so now we've created physical tools to be able to lure the birds. But maybe if you make the flute yourself, I don't know.
if you whittle wood to
yeah.
make yourself a little pipe.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, especially because like I guess to Yarden's point, like we do imitate other animals all the time with other animals. Like I've never been like, oh, I shouldn't be like pss, 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 at my cat. Like I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Birds are so shy though. Like they're so, well, I guess a lot of animals are, but they really will just fly away as soon as you kind of enter their sphere. So I guess it feels more deceitful because they're trying to hide and then you're like trying to get them to come out.
Mm-hmm. It
It's
is
similar to
interesting
that.
too. Like,
Yeah,
I wonder what we're saying to them.
totally.
We're saying like slurs.
We're saying like, if you fly, I'm gonna fucking kill you. They're just
threats.
Yeah.
Two things I wanted to talk about briefly. One was, I guess, to the point about big years. I had heard, Allison, I think you had told me about your big day before and recounted like going across the bridge. Like, didn't you go across 2 bridges in your big day?
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like fearing for my life. This guy was driving like a maniac. But yeah.
So I'd heard of like big days, but I really didn't appreciate the resources that it takes to do a big year before the documentary. Like they at one point said that the 2009 big year record holder spent, if you like adjust for inflation, it would be like $350,000
Oh my
that
god.
year getting the birds. And that's like just so beyond. I had no idea that this hobby could be like that expensive.
Yeah.
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 And I think those guys were really trying to DIY as much as they could. Like they were sleeping in their car and they didn't seem, I don't think they really hired any guides. I think they like met people along the way, but they're definitely people who are retired and have money to spend and are like, they have guides that are guiding them around in every location, which costs a lot of money. And if they're getting like cameras to take pictures of things, those are really expensive, and scopes are like the gear can be expensive.
Yeah. The other thing that really struck me was there's a married couple that they interview in the documentary, and they're really hardcore. Like they broke a bunch of records. And at one point, the woman was saying that they've come up with a rule that if one of them sees a bird and the other doesn't, they won't count it until they've seen it as a couple because they're both like so independently competitive and they do this hobby together. And it's like this measure they've taken to try to preserve the relationship dynamic. And they had the statistic too around that point in the film where they say that for serious birders, birding could ruin the relationship for like 18% of serious birders.
I wrote down something that said birding ruined relationship for 57% of extreme birders.
It was 57%. It could ruin date night.
Oh.
And then 18%, it could ruin the whole relationship.
I mean, you definitely have to be careful. I would say it's come up in my own relationship. Because, I mean, okay, I'm not that motivated by the competitive aspect of it, but when we're traveling and we're in a different flyway, which is basically like birds migrate north-south, there are like 9 different flyways in the world. So when you go to a different flyway, you're seeing entirely different birds, like birds that you just wouldn't see where you live. And whenever we've traveled to a new flyway, I get like really excited because every bird is new, and
that sounds fun.
Yeah, thanks, Yarda. I think so too. I mean, Carly is supportive. She definitely gets like into it as well, but we definitely have had to have conversations about like how much of this vacation are we going to be bird watching and like putting some boundaries around that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just like if you're extreme about anything, it can ruin a relationship.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny as an outsider into the hobby, because it really, until you like start digging in deep, it seems like such a relaxed hobby. Like it's so like, you know, mostly retired people, and generally when you see people bird watching, they're not like moving at a rapid pace. Maybe they're like walking or like sitting with a scope, and it just like, it's funny. I really didn't have a sense of like the intensity and the pressure that kind of goes into it until I started digging in deeper.
I feel like
Okay.
it would be interesting to know what percentage of the birding community is like really that extreme versus not, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to say because there are definitely a lot of people who like tap in and tap out. But if you want to be really skilled at bird watching, it does require some time investment and practice too.
This is getting a little bit into our own experiences with bird watching, but I'll just preview when I went bird watching with Allison. I remember I wrote down because I was so impressed, and this is so probably nothing burger to you, but you were like, I'm hearing some sparrows. And I was like, wow, like she could just identify them just hearing them. Like, sentence I've never said before.
Well, Kaya, why don't you just share your experience?
Okay, yeah. So when I was a kid, I received a bird watching book once as a birthday gift from my dad. So I did some very casual bird watching as a child, but it was like really casual. And then I would say I didn't really engage with bird watching at all until Allison introduced me to it. And because of the podcast, I knew we wanted to do something on bird watching eventually. So like about a year ago, I went birding with Allison. Wasn't it a Bird Curious
Bird
event?
curious, yes.
So it's like a intro to bird watching, I guess, kind of event put on by the local Audubon chapter.
Well,
Is that right?
actually, so I co-founded it with Margot, and I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
I did not. Wait. Oh my gosh.
So Margot and I and another woman named Lydia basically started it because we felt like there were a lot of people who were interested in birding, bird curious, but they were kind of intimidated by all of the just some of the rigmarole around it. And so we started this group to basically like design for beginning birders so that it would have a slower pace and sort of like, because sometimes when you go on field trips, it's like there are these really experienced people and the guide is kind of catering to those people and might not be pointing basic things out that you really need kind of pointed out to you when you're first starting. So that was like the idea behind the Bird Curious group. And then it just blew up. We have all these leaders now, and Margot just had a baby and I left the Bay Area, but it's like fully running on its own. And it's
That's
a really
awesome.
cool little community of people.
That is so, I had no idea. It was so professional. It was giving Audubon to me.
We list the trips through the Audubon Society. So that's like, you're not wrong. It is an Audubon Society thing.
But that's so cool. Wow, we have bird royalty on the pod today. So I went on this Bird Curious expedition, and it was really fun. I would say there was very little like lister energy on the outing, but it still like immediately struck me how I just like did not really have a sense of what the hobby was before this. Like, I think that it's really a immediate perception shift when you're bird watching. You're like going through these spaces outside where normally you would like walk through so quickly, and I was like so locked in on birds and seeing things in like a very different light. And I also liked it because it was very like intergenerational. There was kind of a wide range of ages that were there. So I liked that experience a lot. And then I just recently moved close to a very popular birding site in Seattle. So I'm going to try to go on some more birding expeditions with Drew, but I need to get a better pair of binoculars first, I think. So that's kind of on my list. But yeah, that's
Do you remember how many birds you saw on the field trip?
No, because honestly, I wasn't like in my listing bag at all. I didn't even have an app. I just was like looking at what other people were showing me. I learned a lot though. Yeah, so I wasn't listing at all, but Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was funny too. I made friends with this woman when I was on the bird curious walk, and she was like really playing it like such a novice. And I was like, oh, like what brings you here? Blah, blah, blah. And then, like, I don't know, she just was so like casual about the whole thing. But then it came out over like an hour of conversation that they had had a pet parakeet for 27 years that had recently passed away, which I feel like is already like a huge connection to the avian community. And then it came out like half an hour later that her son was an aviary veterinarian.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
I was like, oh, like you're locked into birds. But I guess this was like her first birding expedition. So it was fun. And she was like probably in her 60s or 70s. I feel like there's not that many hobbies that I do where I'm like chatting with people who are not my age.
Yeah. People are very like welcoming, I think, in the bird curious trips because it's sort of out on the table that like nobody really knows much, which I think is a nice environment. It's like it tends to be a lot of like parents with their kids and like a lot of women, honestly, too. Like
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a more comfortable like environment to learn in. And just also more young people too, I find in the bird curious groups.
The other thing that I would say I was kind of struck by is I feel like I have no sense of how many birds there are in the world. Because as soon as we started birding, I was like, oh my God, there's so many birds around, like so many different types of birds. And I would have thought there was just like two probably if I wasn't like actively looking at them. So,
Yep.
yeah,
There are lots, so many species.
that was my big day. I saw like 20 birds. Den, what was your experience like?
Yeah, okay, so I went this last weekend on a field trip with Birds Georgia. Allison helped me find it. Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. I feel like it definitely differed from my expectations. Like I expected it would be a lot of retired folks and like people would really be experts, and I was pleasantly surprised that that was not the case. Like it was very mixed demographics and a lot of beginners and a lot of us that had never been on a field trip. It really only seemed like the people that were listing were like the guide and like one other person that seemed like he went on a lot of his trips. But the guide was really funny. His name was Kevin. He brought a lot of extra binoculars, which was great because I did not have any and I didn't really realize like how essential they were. I'm like, I would not have any fun if I didn't have binoculars. I also feel like I just like looking through binoculars. Like I'm like, this could just be called looking through binoculars field trip. Like I could kind of look at anything.
That's so true.
But I guess just like prior to that, I would say I was never into birding. Like I famously, I guess, said one time, like, I don't care about birds, which my stepdad, Joe, like always quotes. But that I have definitely seen that shift, like as I've gotten older, like it creeps up on you when you start to notice and appreciate birds. But I still don't know the names of like any birds. I've never been like a nature identification person. Like I love to be in nature, but I don't really, sorry to my biologist friends, like I don't really care like what a tree is called.
I don't really have the identify instinct, but I do think it's cool to be able to
It's
know what
definitely
you're
cool
seeing.
and impressive, just not in my wheelhouse. Yeah, the walk, it was nice. I will say it was really, really cold. It was like 30 degrees and windy. So I was like suffering a bit, and I did learn a lot. I think the ideal length for me, at least in those conditions, would have been like 1 hour instead of like 3 hours. But I do think it's just such a cool free thing that you can do. Like I'm like, if people are looking for free things to do, like you can just learn so much. And the guides are just volunteers. He was giving us so much information. Since it was a lot of beginners, he was also like giving a lot of like meta information about birding, like not just about the specific birds, and like showing us like, look, you don't just walk to a habitat and say, I don't see any birds. Like you have to stay there. Yeah. He also had some funny quotes, and I immediately like kind of locked in with a group of other people that were like my age, and we all have a group text now. So good way to meet people. People are like doing it, I think, like to find community. I haven't told them that I was there as research for the pod, but
they're gonna freak out.
They're gonna freak out. But yeah, like I wonder if this is common, like bird watching speak, but it was funny how Kevin, the guide, would be like, "That's a good bird," and we would be like, "What makes a good bird?" And then sometimes he would be like, "That's a neat bird," and we'd be like, "So is neat like a step below good?"
That's
a fine bird.
That's like literally when we were talking about how to facilitate Bird Curious, we were like, we can't say things like that. We need to make every bird feel like a really cool bird to see. Because like for most people, it's literally the first time they've ever seen it. So there's no such thing as like a good bird. But then for someone who's like birding all the time, it's like, oh, that's like crazy that we saw this today. And like none of the people in the group like understand how cool that is, really.
Yeah, and it was not like the birds I would expect. Like I was really into watching like this blue heron. He did not care about that. Like he was like freaking out about all of these little brown birds that look the same to me.
Yeah.
You like the flashy birds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it has nothing to do with looks. It's just like, oh, I wasn't expecting to see that here today.
Yeah. He also said, "Remember Pokemon Go? This is the same thing."
So true. I feel like that comparison is very, very accurate. That's definitely the mindset for a lot of birders.
Yeah. And he brought a scope, which was fun.
Oh, yeah. I used my first scope when I was on the Bird Curious walk, and it was awesome. I mean, talk about looking through binoculars. That's like next level.
Yeah. And there was also like a 12-year-old like budding biologist boy who was very funny. Yeah, it was a fun experience. And we saw 41 birds, so it seemed pretty good. He said it could get up to like 70 something in the spring at that park.
Whoa. That's a good catch.
A good catch.
Okay, so dating advice for people who are trying to get back out there and feeling self-conscious. You don't have to look good. You just have to go somewhere where they won't expect you to be there. And then people will really want to see you there. It doesn't matter if you're like a blue heron. You can be like a little like scrappy bird. But if you're like somewhere really new or not
that's
usual,
really true.
Yeah. Think about that.
I don't know if it applies, but
well, if you're like, yeah, not the expected type somewhere.
Yeah, like you're like cheerleaders go to that goth bar and you'll be swimming.
Yeah, I don't know if it applies.
Goth people go to that football game. You won't be bullied at all.
Allison, how did you first get into birding?
I got into birding during the pandemic when I moved from New York City to Oakland. And I think a lot of people got into birding during the pandemic. It was definitely like a little bit of like a how can I touch grass kind of a thing, like where I'm inside all the time. But I also was just kind of like spending more time outdoors in general, because in New York I was such a like city dweller, and then suddenly I was living in a place where I was like a 10-minute drive from the forest and going on lots of hikes, and Carly likes to hike, and so I started kind of noticing things like birds, you know, the cool looking birds at first, like Steller's jay was my spark bird, which is like the thing that kind of got me into bird watching. Yeah, and then I was like, what is that? I'm kind of like wired that way a little bit. Like if I see something interesting, I want to know what it is. And that it kind of went on from there. But I think like in general, something that's kind of kept me doing it is just that I feel like we live in such a sort of like attention economy, and birds don't want anything out of your attention. Like they're not trying to sell you anything. It's this very meditative way of observing the world and just finding joy and watching what there is out there. So
they're not trying to sell you anything is so funny. They're not asking for your attention.
They don't even want it.
But you demand it with your playback. So like, how does it integrate into your life? Like, how often do you go out with the deliberate intention of bird watching?
Yeah, I feel like when I was in the Bay Area, I was doing it like a little bit more, but still not as much as like people who are really, really in it. Like they'll go, for example, my friend Margot at one point would go probably like 4 or 5 times a week. Like she would make it a morning practice. Like every morning she would go out before work because it's actually good timing. I feel like when I first got into it, I was doing a lot of like neighborhood walks. Like after work, I would walk around my neighborhood and just try to identify like backyard birds. And then I would go on a deliberate trip, maybe like once every other week or so, maybe once a month. And then here I've had a little bit of a harder time because for me it is partially a little bit social. Like I do enjoy the social aspect of it, and so I'm still trying to figure out which groups to link up with here. But I have done a little bit. Like I've gone to the Los Angeles, like the LA River. Griffith Park has a bird sanctuary area. I feel like I'm always like birds are everywhere all the time. Yeah. So I'm kind of always like, if I hear something interesting, or even if I know what it is and it's just like really striking me, I'll kind of engage with it a little bit.
Yeah. How like on what end of the spectrum are you in terms of listing? Like anytime you see a bird, will you list it?
No, I'm not. I don't have a practice around listing the way that other people do. Like I will really mostly list if I'm like, okay, I'm going bird watching in Griffith Park, then I'll make a list for that. Or if I hear or see something new, then I'll make a list just to document that I've seen it, because I'm like, oh, that's cool that I saw a red-whiskered bulbul outside my window.
You're not listing pigeons on the side of the road.
No, I'm not, even though I love pigeons and mourning doves and stuff, but I'm not listing them every time I see them.
Have you ever gotten on a plane for a birding ambition?
Explicitly for a birding Well, I've delayed a flight. I've made a flight for birding before.
What's that story?
So I went to Tucson, Arizona for my sister-in-law's wedding, and I kind of was like just so into Tucson that I didn't want to leave, and I also had no time to go birding while I was there, even though it's like one of the best places to bird in the US because of all the wedding stuff. So Carly and I were like, should we just change our flight? And then I like took a random day off of work and drove like 2 hours to this park to try to find an elegant trogon, which is like a really gorgeous big green and red bird.
Oh, I would like that flashy bird.
Yeah, it's like a really good flashy bird. And it's also like basically only found in the US. It comes up from Mexico essentially, and like it's only found in this one tiny sliver of the US. So I really wanted to see one, but I didn't find one. I was like talking to all the people on the trail, like, hey, have you seen the elegant trogon? And nobody saw it that day. But somebody said they had seen it the day before. Yeah.
But did you still have a good time and see other birds?
I did. Plus Arizona is gorgeous. So it was like, it was really fun it's fun to change a flight.
Do you think that you would ever be interested in doing a big year?
This is an interesting question. I think I would have to do it with somebody like Margot, who is like really into it. Otherwise, I don't think I would have the inherent motivation to complete it. Like, I don't think I have that fire within me to fully do the big year. But I think I would do it. I don't know if I would do it like now. It's the type of thing that I would maybe do in retirement. It's like if I'm really trying to just figure out how to spend my days. And it's a way of seeing different parts of the country. I think I would want to talk to people who've done it and see if you have to be super focused on it the whole year, or if you can kind of like bake in some just normal travel within there. Or because I think if you're just like, if you're treating it like a work trip where you're like flying in and out of places just to see birds and not actually enjoying the environment, then I wouldn't want to do it.
It's like, it just depends how competitive you are with it, right? Like, there's no rule that does a big year have to only qualifies at a certain number of birds or anything? Or like you can just be like, I'm dedicating this 500, year to
you
birds.
Get executed. Once you've declared your purpose, the eBird people will shoot you if you don't finish your big year.
Yeah. You know, that's a good point. I feel like if you just say, I'm doing a big year, I want to go to these places and try to see these birds. And if I don't, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be actually very fun.
Right. Like it's your big year. It's not anyone else's. So no matter what, you're seeing more birds than you've probably ever seen before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you do like a really bad job planning it.
Do you have any observations about the birding community?
I mean, some of the types that you mentioned are very classic types, like the 12-year-old nerd who's like really into birding. Between the age of like 12 and 18, there's like, they're usually boys for some reason. It's like these super nerdy kids who like know way more than me.
Please, God, if I have a son, let it be one.
Let that be the fixation.
Yeah.
Totally. The more like known and kind of present and vocal members of the community do tend to be men a lot of the times. All the like top birders and top listers in the Bay Area are like mostly dudes, and they're like, sometimes they're like science types, like science bros kind of, but then you definitely have like corners of the birding community that are like the feminist bird club, for example, that there's one in almost every major city, and it's like women trying to organize trips for women. They're pretty cool too, because they often are like kind of like advocacy organizations as well. Like they like try to focus a little bit more on advocacy, which is nice. And then there's always the retirees, and a lot of them are couples, which I think is a very sweet vibe, actually. Like retired couples who get into birding together. That's like,
and only count birds that they both see at the same time.
Yeah. It's a fun community. It can be fun. There's like people who I think take on birds as like all aspects of birds as their like personal interest. You know, like there's meetups for playing, what's that birding board game? Wingspan. Yep. And they're sharing like photos all the time, like in my WhatsApp groups and stuff, and they're like sharing all the possible birding related events that there are, and they wear bird shirts and bird hats, myself included. Yeah, so it's like a fun thing that you can, there's so many ways to engage with it.
We also wanted to ask Allison, what is your favorite bird right now?
Right now?
Or we could
go. Do you have any that you're like really trying to see?
Yeah, I would love to see the pin-tailed whydah in Southern California. They just like look really crazy, and apparently they're not actually that hard to see. I just like haven't seen one yet.
The pintail is really fun.
Yeah, and then
really long.
There are birds that are definitely on my like bucket list in terms of like at some point I would love to see them. They're not necessarily here though in Los Angeles, but and they're not even that crazy. I still haven't seen a pileated woodpecker, which like you can definitely see in the Bay Area. I just like never saw one. I even went on trips to just find one and I never did. But they're really cool. They kind of look like, they're big woodpeckers, and they look like the ivory-billed woodpecker, which is extinct. It's like an extinct North American woodpecker. So I would love to see one of those. They kind of look like cartoon woodpeckers. I would love to see any kind of nightjar, which is like whippoorwills. They look like toads. Like they look like
they do.
toads. But they, like, you might hear them actually, Yarden, in the South, because they're very vocal at night in the southeast of the US. And I have like memories, lots of memories of hearing them at night in Florida. And so they kind of have this like mystical quality to me, kind of like owls. And they're really hard
What do
to
they sound like?
They make a well, they make a sound that sounds like whippoorwill. It's like I'm not gonna do it.
It sounds like they're saying whippoorwill.
Yeah, let me.
They're playbacking us.
Exactly.
And we're always saying whippoorwill.
Here, I'll play it for you.
Keep my ears out, but I don't feel like I've heard that.
Keep your ears out.
Yeah, they're ground dwellers, so they like hide during the day in and like shrubs and stuff on the ground, and then come out at night. They're pretty cool.
Okay, one other question. We have to do a little interest combination here. We said we were going to squeeze you for all the juice you've got. What is your favorite scent right now for bird watching?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I usually go in like a green or woody direction when I go bird watching. I would say my favorite scent, like my go-to, is De by Trudon, which is like a very green.
Trudon?
It's like the Roman numeral 2 by the company Trudon, if I'm saying it without a French accent. And it smells to me very much like chaparral, like California, kind of dry, shrubby atmosphere. Like it's like green, but it kind of has this like dryness to it. And I love wearing that when I'm like out in nature because it just, I feel like I'm like blending in, I'm like camouflaging in.
Awesome. Well, for all our perfume head birders out there,
the only one, but we'll see. Maybe there's more overlap than I think.
So Kaya, would this be your scene?
I think it kind of is. Well, I was thinking I know I said I wasn't a birder, but I was thinking during the documentary, they talk about how like everyone is a birder. Like if you've ever been like, oh, look at that bird, like you're a birder. And I'd like to be one. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna try to stay bird curious. I'd like to invest in a good pair of binoculars this year. And I do think if I make it my scene, I'm going to try to resist the urge to get too listy. And I also want to resist the urge to take shortcuts like we discussed. I really would like to try to get into it with books and try to develop some of my own knowledge to be able to identify birds if I do so. What about you?
Yeah, I guess in the sense that everyone's a birder. But no, I think I also am more bird curious now. Like I've already found myself noticing birds more. I'm not like super interested in doing more field trips, I think, unless it was like a more social thing, like with you guys or with other friends or something. But I want to be like a person that has like a pair of binoculars and a bird feeder and like a book with the birds in my region. So like when I see a bird, I can look at it and identify it. But I also am not super interested in like the listing aspect because I feel like I already have too many things that I track on my phone, like when I read a book, etc. So I'm not trying to add another thing to track.
I was just thinking about that. Like, I'm so sick of rating things. Yeah. God forbid they ever add a 5-star system to eBird. Like, yeah.
3 stars.
That's fine, not a good bird. Yeah.
Mediocre bird. Yeah, I do feel like that's like the perfect lane to be in, is just like curious and sort of, engaging on your own terms. Like my parents live like on the water in Florida, which is a great place for long-legged shorebirds and watching them kind of lurk around. And my mom is like very cute and will always send me videos and pictures of birds and be like, what is this bird? She keeps binoculars.
You're her Merlin.
Yeah. And it's like, it's often like,
be your own Merlin.
It's like, Mom, I already told you that one, but okay. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Allison, for coming on and imparting your bird knowledge with us and our listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was so fun.
It was so fun.
And everyone check out Listers if you haven't already. It's a nice way to be off your phone watching a YouTube video for 2 hours. Okay, bye.